Wittingly or unwittingly, knowingly or unknowingly, willingly or unwillingly, idolatry has taken root in churches, either Orthodox churches or unorthodox church, either evangelical churches or Pentecostal churches, either Catholics or Protestant. There has been forms of idolatry. When the human representative of God in our midst, the man that God has raised to lead us, when we so major on him that we shift our focus from God as if he's the miracle worker, as if he's a demigod, as if he's a mini God, then that is idol worship in the church.
I'm excited to welcome you to Tunde Fume YouTube channel. We ask that you please subscribe to our channel for inspirational songs, powerful messages, and content that will bless you. Please do subscribe and you will never remain the same again. God bless you.
Isaiah chapter 42 verse 8. I am the Lord, that is my name, and my glory will I not give to another, neither my praise to graven image. The Lord here is saying that he will not share his glory with any man. With none of us will he share his glory. And that is also why he abolished any worship of graven image, worship of man, worship of idol. And in Exodus chapter 20, as you read from verse 3 to verse 5, you will see the Lord gave the 10 commandments, and the first of it is that none of them, the Israelites, will worship an idol. But we have seen that tactically, idol worship has found its way to the church. Just like the church in the wilderness, the Israel of old, and now the church of today, idol worship has found its way into the church. You will ask, what do I mean? Well, as we look at this message, we will see clearly how idol worship has found its way into the church. The topic is rooted idolatry in the church. Rooted idolatry in the church. Wittingly or unwittingly, knowingly or unknowingly, willingly or unwillingly, idolatry has taken root in churches, either Orthodox churches or unorthodox church, either evangelical churches or Pentecostal churches, either Catholics or Protestant. There has been forms of idolatry. But this message, we look at it in three perspectives. One, the root of idolatry. In this, we will define what idolatry is. What is idolatry? Idolatry is actually the worship of images, the worship of objects. Now, idol worship is not atheism, but because atheism says there is no God, they do not believe in the existence of God. But idol worship says no, there is a God. Only that we have this demigod, we have this mini God, we have this object which represent God. And so why the atheist says there is no existence of God, an idol worshipper says no, this object, this person is the representative of God to us, and therefore they replace God with objects, they replace God with things, they replace God with man, and that is an idol worship. But if you look at it, when we say the root of idolatry, if you look at the first mention, when the Israelites first got into idol worship, what did we, or what can we notice about them? In Exodus chapter 32, Exodus 32 verse 1, and when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, Up, make us God. Why? We shall go before us. Then I gave the reasons. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we would not what has become of him. You know why they requested for an idol? Because they are not seeing their leader. The issue here is they have put the man to become the object that connects them to God, such that that man Moses to them has become like an idol in their heart. That is why now they can't see Moses, and so they request for something they can see with which they will worship God. They are not doubting God. They are not saying there are no God there. They are only saying because we can't see Moses, we need someone we can see who will represent God to us, because to them Moses has become tactically the idol. So when we say idolatry in the church, we are saying when we make men of God to take the place of God in our heart, that is exactly the idolatry we are talking about. When we make men of God, God of men, and that is done in tactical way. Look at it. He said, this man, he said, as for this Moses, when you major on the man. And then they went forward, they said, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt. Now they see the man as if he is their deliverer. He brought them out. They are not seeing God as a focus any longer. The focus has shifted from God to the man that God used to them. For them. And then they said, we would not what is become of him. They said, because we don't know what has become of Moses, give us something that will show us in which we can say this is a representation of God. So idol worship is actually putting something to represent God, majoring of the object above God. That's how idol worship has found its way into the church. Now as you look at that, you will say, is the fault of that of Moses? No, the fault is not of Moses, but the fault here is the people. Also, if you go further, as you go to verse 2, you will see Aaron said in verse 2, and then Aaron said unto them, break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wife and your son and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. And then eventually Aaron made an idol from that. Now the weak leadership of Aaron also misled them. Now the fault may not be that, is not of that of Moses. The error here is the people wanted something they can see that to them will represent God. When we shift our focus from God, and then we have a weak supportive leader like Aaron, the people are led astray. Now the point we need to make is this: when the human representative of God in our midst, the man that God has raised to lead us, when we so major on him that we shift our focus from God, as if he's the miracle worker, as if he's a demigod, as if he's a mini God, then that is idol worship in the church. And that is why the Lord is warning that we as a church, and when I say church, I'm talking about the global church, we should be wary and be careful not to shift the focus from from God up to men. That is why as a church we must watch against that.